Hello, this is Richie from the Metal Self podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Bicurious to the show. I've got Taran and Gavin. Thanks for coming on, lads.
No problem.
Thanks very much for having us. Delighted to be here.
Yeah, Jesus. I was really looking forward to having you on for a while, but I mean, you know, with COVID and just that you have something to release now as well, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're very, very excited. It's a very busy time.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to talk about it as well. You know,
Yeah.
as
Your
a-
wonderful manager, Alex, shout out to Alex Vinci, gave me the album last night, so I had a chance to briefly listen to it today. And it's a massive thumbs up, lads. I loved it. It's ye in a nutshell, but better.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's good.
That's a very good compliment.
Yeah, you didn't deviate too far away from the EP, which I was relieved, because, you know, sometimes bands will just actually, because it's so long in between albums and recordings, that you could stray really right or left. But no, I was relieved that you still have the same, what would you call it, same Bicurious sound now, really. It's you have it and you're developing, which is great.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think it's changing a little bit, like
A small bit, yeah.
all the time. And even now, the songs that we're writing now are a bit different as well.
Yeah.
But we always try to keep the same kind of thing that we know people like in us, and we like, obviously. So
Yeah. And so for like, I'm not sure about the metal community, do they know of you or not? But I couldn't care less because it's my show and they're going to know about you now. So you were formed in 2016. So give us a small background for those people that don't know too much about you, rather than me asking you too many questions about the early days.
So we met at a house party in Kimmage. Like, it was like a college night out. And yeah, we were about really drunk on a couch, and Taran picked up an acoustic guitar, started playing, and I picked up a pair of drumsticks, started playing on the couch. And then we were like, oh, we should jam, like, in a drunken state. We actually did end up jamming, and we're here like years later. Yeah.
yeah, we were supposed to. A friend of Gav's was supposed to come and play bass for the jam,
Okay.
and they never showed up. So I just plugged into the bass amp instead to kind of cover bass, and then we were just like, this is good enough, you know, this will do. So
Of course, you're cutting down the costs of other additional members as well.
true.
That
Yeah.
is true.
And at that time, was there any particular bands, you know, because everybody has different music tastes, obviously. Was there any particular bands that you found that you had in common?
Well, we in that first jam that we had, like, after the house party, we were jamming loads of Rage Against the Machine. I remember.
You can hear that in your sound. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And well, since I Watch You From Afar, Taran was a big Val Normal fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the like three ones that I can think of, like, at the start. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's bang on. Like, Val Normal were, like, especially at the very start, were a really, really big influence on what I was playing on the guitar anyway.
Yeah. And which one have you got into music first?
Like, got into music just in general.
Yeah, properly. You know, playing.
I started playing when I was 9 or 10. I'm 25 now. You were, how old were you?
I started playing when I was 8, but I think, like, I started playing because I remember hearing this song that my dad used to play. He had this Ben Harper CD, and Ben Harper is a pretty chilled out kind of musician, but there was this one album with a song called I can't remember the name of the song actually, but it was just basically a really heavy song, a rock kind of heavy song, kind of grungy. And I was like, this is amazing. I want to play that. So that's kind of what I guess I was probably like 7 or 8 or so when I got into music properly. Like,
And you were bought a guitar then, and
yeah, I was bought a classical guitar, like a flamenco guitar. So I didn't practice for like 3 years up until my dad bought me my first electric guitar, and then all I could play was Smoke on the Water after 3 years of guitar. But as soon as I got that electric, I was just playing all the time.
And self-taught, yeah?
No, actually, I took lessons for a few years. And then when I was kind of good enough to teach myself, I stopped the lessons and I just kind of taught myself, and then I went to music college. So did Kev as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay. So what music college in Dublin did you go to? Ballyformit,
BIM.
BIM.
which is,
It's on Francis Street. It's part of DIT or
It's-
TU Dublin now.
It stands for the British and Irish Modern Music Institute.
okay.
Fancy.
Interesting. And is it still there, lads? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, still going strong.
And what did you study in there? Was it music theory? And did you any of you get some experience production wise?
There was basically covered everything. Like first couple of years was very focused on playing your instruments, playing with other people, kind of live performance classes and stuff like that, and just kind of learning your instrument really well.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 years, so year 3 and year 4, you get to kind of specialize in certain areas. So like either like music theory or production or music business as well, which was a big thing for me.
Okay.
And you can go even deeper into like solo performance or group performance and things like that. So you can kind of choose your own path, but they let you kind of cover all bases of like the music industry.
And did many people that you know in the course go on to form other bands that you can give a shout out to?
I'm sure that there's loads.
Yeah, Audible Chocolate is one that I gave them a shout out on the podcast the other day.
Right. Okay.
Who else from our year? There's an instrumental band called Haboo. Who else was in our year? Trying to think now. Who can you think of?
Well, one of the lads from our year is in the Murder Capital.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They were all BIM guys as well. They dropped out because they got really big. But we finished. We got our degree.
Yeah, fair play to you. Yeah, and Gav, had you the band started at that stage?
No. So Taran did. I did a diploma course first, but I went straight into first year. And then when I was in second year, Taran finished his diploma course and jumped straight into second year.
Yeah.
So we met in college, basically. It was
On
like
a
a
piss
college night out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you settle on the title Bicurious?
So we wanted to have a name that kind of evokes like the number 2 or like 2 people or whatever, because it was 2 of us.
Yeah.
And so Gav came up one day and was like, we should be called the 2 Happy Campers.
Did I say that?
Thank Christ you didn't say that.
Yeah. I can't
settle
remember
on.
that.
And I was like, I like the idea, but not
No.
that. So I thought about it a little bit, and just Bicurious kind of was like one of the first things that came to my mind, just because it was kind of not edgy, but like a little bit provocative in a way. Like I could see like certain like very like old-fashioned people getting a bit offended by that.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. I
Yeah.
guess. And then they also had bi, so like 2 in the name. So we're like, yeah, that's kind of cool. And it's one word. I like short names, like just one word kind of band names.
Brilliant. That's cool. So you obviously spent probably a year trying to get your songs together and figuring out what works and what doesn't work, is it?
Pretty much.
We kind of jumped into it straight away. Like,
Yeah, we gigged pretty early on. They were small gigs, but actually,
no, we like played our first like headline gig in Dublin was in the Workman's Club, which is like 300 capacity, and
Yeah.
it was pretty full. It wasn't sold out, but I remember that show being nuts, like everyone
Yeah.
crowd surfing
I
and
think
stuff.
it was a great show, and that was like in February or something. And I think we started the band in September.
Yeah,
And like I think there was a lot of hype because it was very much helped by the whole BIM thing, and because it was a brand new band that
Okay, yeah.
you're very, very different from like everything else that was going on in BIM, I think.
Yeah.
And people were kind of excited, and because we had so many musicians around us in the college, a lot of people kind of heard about it, and we just invited everyone from the college, and it was a great gig. It was really, really good.
And that set you off, really.
yeah.
And we'll say, Alex, how did he come into your sphere?
So we played a gig in Cork very early on in Fred Zeppelin's and with our friend Ushin's old band. And I think he was the only person in the crowd. Alex was. And
I
that was the
think
first time we like properly met him.
Yeah. Well, I think he contacted us before, on our Facebook page asking if we wanted to do a gig together, because I don't know how
Oh,
he
yeah.
found out about us.
It's true, your man. And what's that band called? Oh,
Oh, it was through your man from
Mongrel.
Triptych Empire,
Could have been. Yeah, I think so.
or Mongrel State.
Yeah, I think it was Mongrel
Basically,
State.
it's just like all these Italians that talk to each other. And
Yeah,
Irish
yeah,
movies
yeah, of
from
course,
different
yeah.
bands. And they're like, there's these guys. So yeah, basically he messaged us to do a gig together, and then we were like, oh, we're playing in Cork next month or whatever, and he came down to that show, and we just had a really quick chat, and then he was like, I think we did a gig together in Dublin then, in Whelan's, and we got to talk a little bit more.
I'd love to see your reaction when you actually saw the last Vinci live.
Well, first it was Order of the Mess.
Okay, so you saw Order the Mess first, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was when we met. He was doing the Order of the Mess thing, and then after that, but we were really impressed with Order of the Mess. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking cool.
As a front man, Alex is
Yeah,
amazing.
It's
Like,
so good.
like very good.
A great guitarist as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For sure.
So then you had got enough material then for an EP, but you crowd funded it, was it?
Yeah. So before that, we released 2 singles, Sugar Beats and TOI. And then, yeah, we crowdfunded the EP, which we recorded with Tom Peters from Alpha Male Tea Party in, where about Macclesfield?
Yeah, I
That
think the
name place?
studio was in Macclesfield or something in the UK.
Yeah.
And were you surprised how easy it was to crowd fund an album or an EP?
Yeah, I guess like we were helped a lot, like a lot of people that donated, like friends and family and stuff. Like how much? I think we were only crowdfunding 1,000.
Yeah.
So I was like, I mean, it's still a lot of money, but like, you know, like for example, the last Vinci, they were trying to raise like 6,000 for their album. They managed to get like 90% of the way, which is amazing. But that's a lot more, you know.
Yeah.
Like I highly doubt we would have been able to raise that much at that point. So we set the bar like low enough to be sure to kind of reach the goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still amazing. Like we were just blown away by the fact that people just wanted to give us money. Like,
of course, yeah. I mean, and how did you get to know Tom Peters, or who pushed Tom Peters your way?
You emailed him.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the band called Alpha Male Tea Party.
Yeah.
I came across Alpha Male Tea Party on Spotify or something, and I was just instantly hooked. Like I absolutely fell in love with the band, and I loved their sound. And I kind of did some research, and I figured out that he was an engineer and that he recorded all of the band stuff himself. And I was like, well, I want to sound like them, so I should probably get into contact with him. And he was like, yeah, man, let's do some recording, because he was kind of, I think he had just used to work in this as a house engineer in a studio in Clitheroe, I think, in the UK, and he had just set himself up as like self-employed, kind of like on his own.
Okay.
So he was kind of like happy enough to take on like, you know, smaller bands or whatever.
Yeah. And what songs did you send them at that stage? Had you Sleep done and a few others?
We had
It's the singles probably, and some demos as well.
yeah, we probably sent them the singles, and I'm sure we had some sort of demos of the 4 tracks, or at least 1 or 2. I can't remember exactly what we sent them.
I mean, the Sleep song for me is my favorite, but there's a new favorite in the new album which couldn't have pushed it aside a bit, so that's quite good.
Oh yeah, what one?
We'll talk about the new album now in a minute. But the reaction to Sleep, for example, and what's the other one? I don't
do drugs.
I don't do drugs. Like, you can judge by fans live their reaction, but like, what did it feel like when you got so many downloads on Spotify, and like, where you kind of, it's reassuring obviously as well, but I mean, can you remember the excitement about it when you were releasing the EP, going, holy shit, this is a game changer for us?
Well, I actually said this in an interview we did recently. When we got added to the playlist, I was in hospital at the time, and I like just came out of hospital, and I was kind of out of the loop with the band, and people were like, and the band was kind of, I thought was in like a rough kind of place at the time. And people were like coming up to me like, whoa, you're doing like really well on Spotify. And they're like you've like nearly 1 million streams. And I was like, really? And like, I like didn't, so it took a while for me to kind of process it and appreciate it. But yeah, it's mad that we're like nearly 3 million streams now, I think, on Sleep. And yeah, it's deadly, like one of the best things to ever happen to the band, like if not the best, to get added, because we got added to a playlist called Walk Like a Badass, which most of the streams and came from.
That's where the kind of
is it really? Yeah.
Loads. So yeah, we released the EP and it did quite well by itself for a while. It got added to some small kind of stuff, but we played that industry festival, Ireland Music Week, and we met a rep from Spotify there, and we had a chat with him, and we played him Sleep, and he loved it. And those guys have like so much power. He just like on one click on his laptop, he added it to like one of the biggest like rock playlists on Spotify. And over the next few months, then it was just like the numbers kept going up and up and up and up because millions of people from all over the world subscribe to that playlist. So that's kind of
incredible. It's a total different way of doing things compared to what I'm used to, you know, being of the older generation, you know, where you're literally going around playing gigs and trying to hand out cassettes or CDs. And, you know, the digital age has its benefits.
I guess in a way it would be kind of the equivalent of like being on the cover of like a really big magazine back in the day. Because if you had like a kind of almost like an unknown band on like the cover of a magazine, people would be like, oh, who's this band? Everyone kind of
it used to happen a lot with Kerrang or Metal Hammer. You get a free CD with it.
Yeah.
You know, and the band would be like, of course you'd play it. Naturally enough, you'd play it, and then you'd pass it on to your friends and talk about it.
Yeah.
And the videos then was Sleep one of the obvious choices then for a single?
Yeah, it was the catchiest, shortest one. It just made sense. Like,
I think we actually wrote that song because most of our songs are really long, and we I can't even pronounce it.
Consciously,
that's the one. Said that we're gonna try do it like under 5-6 minutes. I think came out around 4 minutes. Yeah. And so that was always going to be the single. And who was it? Sean Smith directed the video. Yeah,
did a fantastic job actually. Again, how did he fall your way?
You knew him for
I'm friends with a lot of people from Cavan.
Shout out to the Cavan posse.
Just from a previous band that was in Travis Oaks. So I met Sean at like a few after parties and just gigs and stuff like that. And I just remembered that he was into like video and stuff. So yeah, that's how I knew him. And
then you developed, we'll say, I hate saying it, a costume, but I mean it is. Did that come? Was there much talk about that, or
no?
Like at least you didn't look like fucking Aha or Duran, you know.
Yeah.
Quite moderate, but it's still effective.
The reason actually why we started, we first started the wife beaters, like.
So what happened was we realized that we got really sweaty on stage very quickly.
Yeah.
So we just were like, let's wear shorts and vests so that we don't we sweat but we're not too warm or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, we need like colors. So I went to Penny's and I tried to find like the most like obnoxious like vibrant colors that I could find. So we got this like kind of teal like turquoise one vest that was that color, and then one pair of shorts that was that color, and then a real like deep purple. So we got one vest that was that color and one shorts. So he was wearing, I think, the teal top and the purple shorts, and I was wearing the teal shorts and the purple top.
Right.
They looked awful. So I think we played like one gig like that, and then we just
there is video footage of it, I presume, or photo footage.
It was terrible.
But the reason why we started wearing the white was because for that Sleep video, there was only like a black screen, like as the green screen. So we had to wear white. So ever since we've just worn white gear.
I think we opted for black afterwards.
Yeah.
After the mad colors, and then Sean was like, if you wear black, you're basically going to be like floating heads in this video. So wear white instead. And we did that. And then we're like, that actually looks kind of cool. So we just kept doing it.
Yeah. And are you going to keep that image for a while?
I think so,
I
yeah.
think so. We expanded our wardrobe and now we have white hoodies as well
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah.
wear like before the show.
Nice, nice.
And I think we're pretty happy with it right now. Maybe in the future we'll change. But
Yeah. I mean, you look at bands like God Alone with the whole Paisley outfit, and it works for them. Then they could fucking show up at a gig then like Shaolin monks, so you don't know. That actually was the first time I saw ye live, was it the Dali with God Alone?
Yeah.
That was a fantastic gig, man. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good fun. It's a great venue.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I think they've painted it up and it will be opening again, which was a major worry for all of us that it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
We're still unsure about Fred, so fingers crossed that will open up as well.
Yeah, it's so dodgy for so many venues at the minute.
Yeah.
Thankfully, a lot of them got grants and stuff like that to stay open, but not all of them, I suppose.
So we'll move nicely on now towards the new album. You had how many new songs initially demoed, and how many made it onto the album?
We didn't have too many songs.
11 maybe in total, like demoed.
Yeah, I think we had to drop two. We dropped I'm a Hypocrite, and what was the other one?
Shoelace.
Oh yeah, we were thinking of doing Shoelace. Yeah, we dropped two because we weren't too sure about them, and we just wanted to keep like the best.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And had you any idea going into this recordings that you were maybe going to collaborate with anybody? Was there any talk of that?
Not really. I think we just had our songs and we just had a story, like a theme, and I thought I don't know, I just think we were just really confident in like ourselves and the story, and I think as our first album it just needed to be like us.
Yeah.
And like now we're kind of thinking for the future, like maybe to try and work with other people just on like, you know, collaborations or whatever involved, like I don't know what, but
yeah, there's definitely
for the first release we just wanted to really just represent just us, like.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, but you can have a lot of fun further down the line, definitely, with certain instruments and people, I would say. So the team, you brought up the team about it. There's just quite a few. It's probably 2 or 3 main teams running through it. I want to talk to you first of all, because as I said, I got to listen to it today, and it reminded me of, and I know you can talk about this, Taran, yourself, when Sepultura released Chaos AD and the first opening track was Refuse Resist, and the opening part of it was the heartbeat of Zion, his son.
Right.
Are you aware of Chaos AD? Sepultura?
No.
I was actually just listening to Roots the other day, that album, but I'm not familiar with the other one.
Okay, so Chaos AD is outstanding. You'll thank me. But so Taran, since you have a newborn baby, I think, I could be wrong, but I thought I heard him. Is it Ezra on the recording?
Yeah. Ezra is now 2 years old, so that what you hear is like when he was kind of probably like 6 months or whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, he is on it, and my girlfriend's on it as well. It's funny, like we recorded a sample, where like he's crying and stuff, and like Tara was speaking German because she's half German, and I just reversed the whole thing, and it sounds absolutely diabolical. Like just the reverse, like German speaking and baby crying. It's terrifying.
It appears twice on the album, actually, isn't it?
Yeah. It's actually as well, that's like that sample that we used of the different voices is like a bunch of different voices I heard while I was in hospital and stuff like in my head. So it's like combined with the two things. Yeah, but I like the way the first like thing you hear on the sample is Ezra crying.
Yeah,
I think it's a very good like introduction.
Yeah, so well done on doing it, man. It's a really nice touch. So the album itself, you said there's a story running through it. Is it mental health as well, Gav? Can you
Yeah.
maybe fill us in on that?
So yeah, like I think we said, it's about also Taran's son Ezra,
Yeah.
and then a psychotic episode that I had about 3 years ago now, probably just over 3 years ago. So yeah, it's about that kind of period in our lives, about when I had the psychotic episode and when Taran found out that Tara was pregnant, and then when Ezra was born. Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like
So,
the journey, like from kind of like before, during, and after, almost both those things.
Yeah, and it's reflected then, because obviously there's not lyrics there. It's reflected in the mood and the atmosphere.
Yeah, we like to think that, like, we try to associate the songs with a certain mood and like feel that matches the kind of themes in the timeline of the album. It's pretty, like, you'd have to really read into it to kind of get the meaning of it, especially with the lack of vocals. But obviously the few samples that we have in there, I think, help to kind of understand it a bit more.
And the titles as well.
Yeah, the titles of the songs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a brief run through. So the intro is voices, and it's a beautiful intro, actually.
Thank you.
I like as well that it does kick in and get heavy. It needn't have to, but it's nice the way it just floated, and then bang, you have Bicurious. The lads are back. So like we used to, the second song, again, that was just a reaffirmation for me that you haven't changed much, and it's got your stamp all over it. Was that an obvious number 2?
It was the first song I think we wrote that appeared on the album.
Yeah, from that bunch of songs, I think it was one of the first ones. That's probably why it sounds the most like the EP or something like that. But yeah, that one is like, it's basically about, like we used to, it basically refers to like us, going out and like spending a lot of time in bars and venues and pubs and stuff like that before the stuff that happened to us happens.
Yeah.
So like before Gav had a psychotic episode, and before I had a kid, because I can't really go out as much now,
Of course you can't, man. Responsibilities.
Exactly.
Welcome to something that we all suffer from now.
Yeah.
The third one then, Palapapapa. The title, how did that come about, and how did you actually even word that? Is that a kind of a song in the shower that just it didn't matter about the words?
We just wrote that song, like I just had a melody for it, the main melody, and I don't know, like it was just a guitar melody, and then we were like, oh, it'd be cool if we could sing it. And it was just one of those things, like the first thing that I sang when we were trying to sing it was just like ba-da-ba-da-ba, just to kind of make some words to it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, you know what? I don't really know what else to say, so I'm just going to use that. And then we're like,
and it's a perfect successor to Sleep, I think.
Yeah, it has that kind of positive vibe to it.
Yeah. That sing along buzz. Yeah.
And of course, you'd Alex singing on the background as well, hadn't you?
Yeah. It's Alex, Taran, and Tom singing on that, and I think he can hear me very low in the mix because I'm not the most confident singer.
Yeah, you can definitely hear Alex with his like opera voice.
Yeah, it was nice to see that clip actually on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the next song is Deconstructed, and I'm going to play a section of it. And not the obvious second single.
I think it was between that and I Can Hear Him Too, possibly.
Yeah, I think the reason why we went with that one is I think it's because of Alex. And
Lads, the mic has gone down. Yeah, just check that. All right,
maybe
that's it. Yeah, try it again there.
1, 2.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, yeah. So I think Alex is the reason why we picked that song because when I made that song, like it was one of those that I just kind of like recorded most of it at home by myself, and then I sent it to Gavin, Alex, and Alex was just like really excited about it straight away.
Yeah.
And we both liked it, but I think he just made us feel like it was a really good song. So we're like, seems like we should probably put that one up.
Yeah, cool.
Single.
The next track then is Groundation Intervention. What's the story behind that?
So the name from that came from, so we played a gig with Mute Fish while like I was in the middle of the psychosis. And I think the gig actually went okay in the end.
Yeah, it was really good.
But I was convinced that like the crowd were like doctors and stuff following me. It was weird, but I went to my therapist then, and I was like, oh, this happened, blah blah blah, and I heard a voice say, oh, you had a groundation intervention, like a voice in my head. So I remember, we were practicing the song one day. We didn't have the title for it, and then I like said that story to you. And
you thought that crowd at the gig was that intervention for you?
Oh, right? Yeah, I thought like I was having an like the crowd were like giving an intervention to me. Yeah.
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
But it's really, I think that's a really cool story, even though it's dark, obviously. Because
it's dark, yeah, but I mean, incredible that you can
very interesting
have the clarity and remember that sequence of words.
Yeah, that was just one of the things, like one of the voices I heard that really stuck out to me, along with like the sample in I Can Hear Him Too in the intro. There's a few things that people saying that kind of stuck with me, which were both real and not real. But that's basically what the song's about, and the guitar riff reminds me like of a siren, like an ambulance siren, like
it's kind of like it's the middle point of the album where like, you know, you realize that something's happened and the ambulances are coming to come get you, like, you know, it's kind of
it's really cool. And on about voices, Alex shouting the track title in the next one, We're All Totally Fucked.
That came from so when we recorded the demo of that in Alex's studio in his back garden, before he started the take, he like shouted like, we're all totally fucked. And then like we got him to recreate that while we were in the studio in Liverpool, and Tom Peters was like getting him to do it in like different accents, and I think the one we went with was like him doing it in the Soviet Russian accent. yeah
Red Dawn, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah
Classic. The 7th track is my favorite. It's Mercurial.
Okay.
I thought that would be it. I knew, because it's like just because you're obviously a metal guy, so like, you know, I feel like that's kind of like the most like dissonant kind of track on the album. So like,
there's so much going on. It's a busy track, but like the riffs, the drumming, everything is fantastic right through it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
There's like 4 or 5 different parts to it, and it just works. It's so well produced as well, to be fair, that you've constructed this great song that takes so many routes but yet comes back in time to finish lovely. So it's a fantastic track.
Thank you so much.
Sweet, thanks.
Yeah. The 8th track is I Can Hear Them Too. Who wants to take that one?
So similar to Groundation Intervention, it was a voice I heard when our friend Dan Bracken came to visit me in like my house before I went into hospital. We were outside having a smoke, and I like started hearing voices, and I closed my eyes and I heard like in his voice, but it wasn't real, him saying it's okay, I can hear him too. So if you listen to the sample, you can actually, we got Dan to recreate saying that, like, it's okay, I can hear him too. So it's based around that sample, and it's it's mainly about psychosis and stuff. It even has a sample in there that explains what psychosis is. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last track then is Reconstructed. Taran?
Yeah, that song, I guess as the title suggests, it's kind of like, it's basically the hope after the storm kind of thing. It's like all the really bad dark stuff has happened and we're kind of coming out the other side of it, and that like the end of the song basically has this kind of like big epic build up,
Yeah.
like full of like major chords, which kind of, it's like a powerful kind of positive energy that just explodes into like this big massive thing. And that's just the feeling that I get when I listen to it. It's just kind of like, this is like the next chapter, you know, this is like, we're gonna be okay kind of thing.
I think that's the feeling you get out of it, actually. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Mercurial was certainly building up to that, and then Reconstructed just shows where the future is for you, you know. And as you said, it's important to even though it's not physically said, but you can sense that it's a really positive
That's good.
vibe to it, you know.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to know that like people can actually hear that in the music. They can hear the meaning of the song in the music itself. Like,
but I felt the tension in it. There's propulsion, there's cohesiveness, there's melody, and they flow right through it. So it's exciting to listen to them as a fan and imagine what it would sound like live. And like your guitars, they flaunt melody, noise, and distortion. The drum beats are blunt, uncluttered, and I wrote down swinging. But the inner workings of the songs are far more intricate. That's the way I felt about it. And maybe after, I think I listened to it 3 times in all. Is it fun to manipulate those songs when you have, we'll say, the flesh on them?
yeah.
Like you absolutely have no rules, I gather, in relation to the, you know, you're not working to a set template, for example.
No, but at the same time, I think we always try to like, we try to be as free as possible, obviously, but we also, you know, we don't want to be put into like a niche of this kind of like very specific genre that only certain people listen to.
Yeah.
And I think we always try and include as much like catchy melodies and kind of just like relatable things in our songs, that, you know, people that might not listen to kind of that sort of music might actually listen to a song and be like, oh my God, I actually really listen. Like, I actually really like this, even though I've never listened to this style of music. I think that's kind of like my favorite compliment that we get sometimes is when someone is like, I've never heard anything of this kind of genre before, but I love it, like, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, it's the intricacies I like about you. Like the vibe you were going for, as you said, was positive. And do you think you accomplished that? Because
yeah, I definitely think we did. I'm just thinking about this now. I remember my mom saying to me when I, like, just after the episode, she was like, something positive will come out of the episode. Like, you're going to write like good music or something. And we did in the end, you know, like, and I think it's, I think I can speak for the both of us. It's the most proud thing we've done. Like,
yeah,
I
think
like musically.
I think as an ensemble of songs, I think the fact that I'm really proud of the fact that we managed to get like a story through the album.
yes,
Like that's something that I really wanted to do, like for a long time, is to just not just have a collection of songs, but have something that actually makes sense from start to finish, that tells a story. And you said that it's really positive. Well, that it's positive, but I think it is positive at the end. I think the result is positive, but it just travels through so many different emotions and so much darkness throughout. That, like, the release and that positiveness at the end is like, obviously that's what you leave with, that what you're left with at the end of the album. But to get there, you have to go through like all the
and that's very difficult to do, lads, without lyrics. So it's a big compliment that you've achieved that, in my opinion, you know.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've parted ways with a lot of the samples as well. That was
Yeah.
one thing that I was interested in because, again, it's a minefield, really. Especially with your first EP and going into this one, was that a conscious decision not to be found out in relation to copyright issues and stuff?
Actually, that had something to do
Yeah,
with it.
that's what came to mind.
Because like, yeah, we've had like we haven't had any scares or anything, anyone contacting us about anything, but we've definitely like
Been
all
advised.
all of the samples that we've used so far before the album, I think. Well, some of them we recorded ourselves, but most of them were just ripped straight off YouTube, like no shame, and like we could get in big trouble for that. But there was a bit of that, and then there was a bit of like we were talking about this as well a little bit before that. There's a lot of it is to do. It's quite political, like the previous songs that we released, and as people, we're not the most political people. Like we've got like I've got a big interest in that stuff, but I just don't take enough time to educate myself about.
Yeah, that if you're challenged on it, you could be kind of backstepping.
Exactly, you know, I'm not. I realize that I'm not the best placed person to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd rather let better placed people do that kind of music, and then I just focus on making music that I like, as opposed to getting involved in any other song.
Yeah, just concentrate on simple hooks that are hypnotic and drum beats as well. And I find that a lot about your music as well when I'm driving and stuff. It's almost hypnotic, and it's just so just chilled out, and that's what music does for me as well. All types of music, not only metal, the likes of yourselves, and rap as well, man. If you've got a good beat, you're following it, and you know it's the other stuff that comes in that dresses it up.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So your relationship, right? What TV characters would describe your relationship as mates?
That's a good question.
Someone commented in one of our YouTube videos, Laurel and Hardy, the band.
You're too young to remember Laurel and Hardy. I thought you'd throw up some Simpson characters.
I watched it before, I think, but
I watched the movie with Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly.
Okay.
Yeah, which was like about Laurel and Hardy, but
I don't know what kind of TV characters. Like it has to be a duo. Like
there's plenty out there, man. Rick and Morty, there's a few.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the fans can
Go
fill
with
that
Laurel
in
and
for us.
Hardy.
Yeah,
I
Laurel and
would
Hardy.
like-
That's fair enough.
like Step Brothers, you know?
Oh
like the movie.
yeah.
Just like fucking
Yeah.
idiot, like harder than those guys. So.
And like, have you a special song then that the two of you absolutely love? What's your go-to song that the two of you?
What do we listen to in the car like that? What was the last
Yeah,
thing we were listening to? Last one, Bullet in the Bible by Green Day. We were rocking out to that
Yeah.
yesterday.
Class.
Yeah, Bullet in the Bible. That was good. And we were singing this Rancid song as well. Actually, punk rock is like something that we both listen. Well, Gav is still really into punk rock. Me, not so much anymore, even though I still like it. But I that kind of got me really into music was punk rock. So I think we have that big thing in common. Like,
That's cool. And again, out of the new songs, what was the most stubborn song to finish?
Ooh, I can hear him too, maybe. Like in terms of like playing it live, I don't think we've still figured it out, but we have figured it out, but just matter of getting it tighter.
stubborn to finish.
Like we used to. Because we added a new drum groove in there, for me anyway.
True.
Um,
Deconstructed was kind of a tough one to get. Because
True.
as I mentioned, like I wrote most of it on my laptop, and then translating it to the live situation, like having myself was tricky because there were some things we weren't able to do, so we had to change a lot of things, and it wasn't working up until it was working, and it was kind of like lots of highs and lows with that song, and it still is because it's a hard one to play live.
Yeah. And your favorite song to play live?
Reconstructed.
Probably Reconstructed. Yeah, we did. We recorded a live stream in.
There's rumors you were down Cork.
Yes, Cypress
Cypress
Avenue.
Avenue,
We
yeah.
recorded a live stream there yesterday, which was amazing, and we played Reconstructed as the second song, and I just went absolutely nuts. Even though there was like it was just a live stream, it wasn't a gig, but I don't know. I was filled with this crazy energy or something for that particular song, and I just loved it. Like it was great.
Brilliant. Cool. Now, just want to talk to you as well about the videos. You worked with Shane Serrano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did he come into your sphere?
Alex.
Yeah, through Alex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I knew him from before because with my previous band, Travis Oaks, we had played with his band, Foxjaw, a few times.
Oh yeah, Foxjaw. Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, Shane drums in Foxjaw, so I knew him to see and stuff, but I never really talked to him before. And Alex is a good friend of his. They've worked together before, so he recommended him, and we were very, very happy with his work. He's an amazing professional. He's so good.
The last one, we're all totally fucked. That video had me a scratch in my head. All right. I mean, I know the house actually features on the album.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come about that?
So basically, we just didn't have enough money to make like 3 like proper videos. So like we tried to find a way to kind of cut down costs.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just like we worked with a director called Wolf James, she was originally going to do the videos, but then she wasn't able to in the end, so Shane took over. But all the concepts were kind of created by her and myself. We kind of had a few like Zoom chats and stuff, and we came up with these ways to save money to make these cool videos.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she mentioned like there's a 9 Inch Nails video that kind of does the same thing, where it's like zoomed in on like an outboard compressor, like a piece of gear. Like
I know that one. I'm a big 9 Inch Nails fan.
Over the whole video, it just zooms out, and like it looks really boring, but also like really hypnotizing. And we did that with the house. That's kind of like being like covered in water and like smoke coming out of it, and it's just one long shot that just films it the whole way through
and reverses back inwards. Again, why the house on the album cover? How did you come across the house?
You bought it off
adverts,
yeah, and you kind of thought of the idea. You always wanted a house as the cover because it kind of represents like rebuilding and reconstructing, and in both senses.
Yeah, I think
like of the story.
The meaning of the house for me more or less was that, but it was also like it represents like the home. So like, I'm building a home with I'm building a family, I'm building a life for my kids and my wife, and Gav, in a sense, his home is his like body and his mind, and he's like reconstructing himself, his self home, his internal home. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it does.
So I
think
that the house was a kind of cool image, and we were trying really hard over all the content and all the photos and album covers and videos and single covers and everything. We tried to stay like really consistent with all the imagery and the themes and stuff. That's why a lot of the things that you see in the videos appear on the covers and on the press photos.
Oh, the puppet as well, the string puppet as well.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. We try to be really consistent with everything.
Yeah, it actually works. Yeah, it's very good. Now, your favorite part of the interview, and we're going to wrap up with this, is tour news. So you've announced a good few dates. Let's just do the tour at the moment. So the 11th of September is the Crown in Bristol. Have you played there before?
No, not. We've played in Bristol, but not that specific venue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did we play before?
The Mother's Ruin.
That was great. That was a really good show.
The 12th then Portals Festival London. Tell us about that.
So we played with the promoters before for like an all day thing, and in London, and that was one of my favorite gigs ever. So I'm really looking forward to going back, and we're playing with Alpha Male Tea Party, Gallops, and more cool bands.
Yeah,
Burial at the Sea as well.
Unreal lineup.
Yeah,
it's a great lineup. Yeah. So then the Ulster Sports Club Belfast. Strange venue. I would have thought Voodoo would be perfect for you, being truthful, but
Bit big Voodoo, no?
No, we couldn't get in contact with them.
Oh yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So Ulster Sports Club in Belfast. We're playing with kind of psychedelic band supporting us called Lemonade Shoelace.
Right.
So
You mentioned them earlier, yeah.
We've had
Yeah.
a lot of fun in Belfast over the last few times. I think it's one of my favorite places to play in Ireland.
Yeah.
yeah.
Really, always had like real positive kind of vibes off people there.
I'm you know what, I'm promoting it the whole time as a scene. It's outstanding, Northern Ireland, and including
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
Belfast.
really good,
So,
really
so
strong.
we were running up there, myself and Evan from Worn Out. We were running up there not last weekend, the weekend previous, for Metal to the Masses, and unfortunately Voodoo was shut down and we couldn't get in there or have drinks, but we compromised and we found somewhere else. So, but a great weekend up there, top people up there as well.
Yeah.
You're coming down to our city then on the 9th, the Winthrop Avenue. That's, I presume, is Cypress Avenue.
Yeah, it's literally right beside it. I think could be in the same building.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a smaller stage, it's not the main.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind either seeing you in Belfast or Cork. Any idea, you're not going to leave out who's supporting you in Cork? I mean, you're spoiled for choice, obviously.
It is Alex.
Last Vinci is supporting us in Cork, obviously.
Yeah.
Good. That's great there.
Yeah.
Whelan's then, is that the launch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the 14th, okay.
That's the big one, because it's like we've played Whelan's main room a few times, but this time we're headlining, and it's kind of like a bucket list thing for us.
Yeah.
It's very scary because it's a very, very big room, but we have a feeling that if the album does well, we might have a chance to like make it a really, really special night if like a lot of people show up, you know.
Yeah. Wow. And the 15th then, it's good to hear Waterford being mentioned as a venue as well.
Yeah.
It's a new thing, I think.
Yeah, that Rebecca from Viking Promotions.
Oh, shout out to Rebecca, yeah, manager of Last Vinci.
Yeah. She's putting on that gig, and Last Vinci are also on that bill, along with a band called Bankrupt from Waterford as well.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of them. Are they,
cool.
what kind of music are they?
It's kind of like, how do I describe, like indie, kind of cool indie, and they're a two-piece band as well.
I think we met them the first time they came to our gig in Waterford, and the two of them were up the front, just like headbanging the whole time, and they were like singing along to the samples and stuff.
Wow.
Cool.
That's really
like,
cool.
Yeah, it was really nice to see.
Yeah, it was deadly.
Okay. So anything to say for those that are listening and watching?
I mean, I think we've said it all. We've talked about
said it all,
everything.
yeah.
We've covered everything really. Just go out and fucking buy it, listen to it. It's on all the main platforms.
CDs and vinyl and
Oh yeah. Okay. So Bandcamp, what have you got for us on Bandcamp? There is vinyl, there's CDs, is it?
Yeah, there's a black and white special edition vinyl, and there's a regular black vinyl.
I think I'll get the black and white one. Treat
there's
myself. Go on.
The CD, and there's a Palapa t-shirt up right now.
Okay.
We're probably gonna have more like wearable merch as well soon. And
who did you go for merch? Was it Irish or English, or where'd you get it?
It was cheaper in England, so we went to England.
Okay.
Pins and Knuckles.
Pins and Knuckles. No, they're really, really great.
Oh, Pins and Knuckles. Yeah, sure, they did my hoodie for me.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, they're unreal. They're really, really sound people.
Except I had to pay €268 import tax, but.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think what they do now is they don't charge you VAT, but you have to pay the import tax instead. So, but it actually kind of works out pretty much the same from what I kind of calculated.
Okay.
Great content for you there. That's cool.
Okay, I'm going to leave you go. Bicurious have made their debut album. It's called Reconstructed. It's outstanding. That's my opinion. It's out on July the 30th. And Taran and Gavin, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed that. Thank you
very much.
Yeah, much appreciated. So if you like the show, hit subscribe and crucially support your local metal scene. Thank you.
Cheers.